Are we live? Okay, we're live. Okay, folks. AK here, back with a short, hopefully short, quick stream. Yes, I'm still playing Stellar Blade, as is very obvious. And as you can see, I'm wearing a new outfit. Uh-oh, volume on my phone. And it's the Raven outfit. And it's not the only one. I've been going around in my second private playthrough of New Game Plus, and I've gotten a heck of a lot of stuff since starting it. Now, previously when I played, I did the boss rush, and before that, I went and did the true ending of the game, and I was very much happy with that. In fact, originally I wanted to remain that way. But, much like with Bloodborne, as opposed to Metro 2033 or any of the Metro games in general, I decided to go ahead and show off the other final boss of the game, the Elder Naytiba, because that was the one boss fight that was missing from the boss rush mode, because, well, I never fought him. And because of the fact that I went for the true good ending, that boss fight is locked out to you, or locked off from me, in favor of the Providence mecha fight. So, I figured, what the hell, why not, having gone through the game a second time to do that among everything else, why not go ahead and film that? So I'm going to do that. And I'm also going to go with a different hairstyle for Eve this time as well. Of course, I'm expecting to get my ass kicked, so this may not be as short a stream as I think it'll be, but at the very least, it'll be done, and I won't have to worry about it. I'm conflicted as to whether or not I ever want to show off the other ending, the really bad ending. And the chances of me doing that are also slim, considering the fact that I'm very OCD completionist as a gamer, so I'd have to basically speed through the entire game doing as minimal shit as possible just in order to do that, which for a game like Stellar Blade is kind of against my nature. And for sake of posterity, I have not played the game in hard mode up to this point. I basically went with normal mode again, because I wanted to go through getting everything without being bothered too much. So, I'm going to be fighting the Elder in normal mode, like I did previously, but of course, I may be slightly overpowered, because, you know, I've leveled up the sword more, I've leveled up the tumblers more, I got the Mark II protection gears on, so it's very likely, it is possible that I'll just beat the Elder's ass harder than I did with the Providence, because Providence really gave me a smackdown previously. And I already know I'm not going to like this because, well, the original and the true main ending for the game, that one makes sense because, here's the thing. Adam went out of his way, despite being the Elder Naytiba, despite being Raphael Marx, the guy responsible for all this. If he's the villain, he's doing a very bad job at it, considering that he went out of his way to help the people of Zion, which is filled to the brim with ADOS androids and probably even regular humans. It is very much possible that a good amount of them could be regular humans, especially since it was even implied by Oracle, being an android Naytiba hybrid that he was, and he basically said so himself, that regular humans saved him. He did not say Andro ADOS. So he likely had regular humans living in Zion. And you know how you had all the note propaganda lying around from that Liberation Front about Naytibas getting smuggled into Zion, where Oracle lives? How much you want to bet that the reason they were capturing Naytibas and shipping them secretly into Oracle's chamber was because he maybe needed their juice or something to keep himself going? Because after all, he looked very sickly and being kept on life support. So who's to say that they weren't juicing him up with Naytiba blood to keep him going, especially since they seem to like that stuff. And as I was saying, if Adam's the bad guy, why would he even go along with this? If anything, the dude's just on a giant redemption arc, and he's just been playing the long game ever since. One could argue how he did it was wrong, especially with regards to Raven, but at the same time, can you really blame him for being secretive? I mean, after all, when you think about it, the more I thought of it, the Angels are basically like the clone troopers from Star Wars. They are bred and trained to be the perfect, obedient soldiers. They're not warriors. They're not supposed to question orders. So, when you think of it like that, Eve and Raven are basically the exceptions to the rule. They're not supposed to know anything. So there was a note previously, I remember a long time ago, where it basically blurted out like the Angels are dumb, they don't know anything. Well, yeah, it's just like the clone troopers from Star Wars. Back when the clone troopers were actually done well in this regard, and Dave Filoni did not do the stupid mind chip fan fiction thing. So yeah. And think about it, know that it makes sense that Raphael, because if he did, not only would Eve be probably very confused, but she probably immediately would have tried to kill him anyway. Kind of like how Lady and kept attacking Dante in Devil May Cry. Well, sort of. Lady only shot at Dante because he kept just to get him to stop annoying her in that game. But think of it like this: considering that is her duty under her orders from Mother Sphere to kill Naytibas, if he just came out with it and said, "Yeah, I'm the Elder," she probably would have gone ham on him anyway. And if she didn't fail to kill him. And if she failed to kill him from the onset, he probably would have killed her right then and there, knowing how powerful he probably is supposed to be. At least that's what I'm getting out of the whole thing. And I also think, another thought popped up. We never saw Captain Man die in the boss fight the first fight with Raven. I think Man's probably alive. I mean, yeah, he was puking blood, but that's like anime logic, which this game is also using a lot of. So if they do a sequel, I wonder if Man could probably come back. Because I'm under the mindset of, if we didn't see him die, he's probably alive. And I also wonder if, since Raven is also technically alive, what if she comes back too? Just with prosthetic arms and legs, and having her spine rebuilt. I mean, I could see her coming back, in a way, maybe as a second playable character.
I can see it. The end of my journey.
Well, an alternate version of your journey, Eve, and it's not the one that that is not considered the good one. Well, the less bad of the two bad ones, anyway.
Eve, I've been waiting.
It's like I thought. It was you.
Adam. Why is it Adam here?
And I wonder if being a Naytiba also stopped him from aging, or at the very least gave him a more youthful appearance. Probably.
I know this is a disappointment. I'm sorry, Eve. Everything that has happened until now, and even before, it began with me. I am the source of it all.
Adam. Or would you prefer I call you Elder? What are you scheming? You pretended to rescue me. Pretended to help me on my mission. All under the guise of helping Zion. What are you really after?
I want atonement. I want forgiveness.
Yeah, he wasn't pretending. He was just kind of leaving out details.
I have done sincerely.
Enough of this nonsense! My comrades, the people of Zion who trusted you. Tell me why they had to die.
Eve, you have every right to be mad. I understand.
Elder Naytiba, you...
Please, listen to me, Eve. First, I'm sorry for what happened between you and Raven. In the end, she had her own motives, and that way she was a lot like Oracle. As you've discovered, you were created by the surviving humans to look and act like them. And us, we're nothing but monsters. Right from the start, we struggled to coexist. Of course we did. Because we Naytibas were weak. We were not yet mature enough to fully accept your kind. This foolishness resulted in tragedy. In the end, we gave up our humanity in order to survive.
Terrible choice.
Then you threw us out into space!
Earth is too small for both our species to coexist. However, even if all the Naytibas disappear, it's impossible for your kind to succeed the human race.
Yeah, because they're not the original.
After all, you were created entirely from scratch, with no human DNA at all.
Ugh. How does that even work?
You think you're the one to end this gruesome slaughter?
Yes. I've been researching for decades to find a way. A way for us all to become the inheritors of the human race. An Andro Eidos, with the most advanced unicinous hyperbody ever seen. And the ultimate Naytiba that has not succumbed to its hostile instincts. These are the two necessary ingredients.
You mean?
Yes. You and I. We are what is needed. Eve, I offer you one last deal. Let us become whole. One being. A single, evolved human species. If we fuse together, we can truly become the seeds of a new human race.
That's insane. There's no point in listening to this, Eve.
At this rate, Mother Sphere will do the same thing over and over again.
Yup.
I wouldn't be surprised if she even destroyed the colony, and thereby Earth. As you know, she will not stop. But this is not the path that humans should take.
But there's no proof that this fusion is the right path to take.
Especially considering everything you've done.
You're right, Lily. However, my wish to save the new humans and surviving humans is sincere. As unbelievable as it may be.
Yeah, we've had no reason to doubt him at any point. Other than the hiding the Naytiba that he's an elder part.
Lily.
He's basically been straight with us the whole time. That's why I hesitate to call him a villain.
This is the last hypercell needed to rebuild Zion. Zion can be saved no matter what choice Eve makes.
See what I mean?
So much if you could do this for me. Eve, your mission is to eliminate me. If you fuse with me, the Elder Naytiba, as you know it, will cease to exist. Forever. Is there any better way to complete your mission? Eve. Take my hand. I can save you. We can save each other. We can save everyone.
Yeah, if I had to call Adam, Raphael, whatever, anything, it wouldn't be a villain. It would be like, you know, like the prodigal son kind of character, or the, or like the you know, the redemption arc villain. I can't remember the exact term, but yeah, he's clearly not the bad guy. I mean, he is the bad guy in terms of hindsight, considering he created Mother Sphere. He did all that shit, but, yeah.
Sorry. I can't accept this.
I hate this decision, but I want to do it just to
Eve.
Get the boss fight out of the way.
No matter how much blood has stained Mother Sphere's hands, and no matter how heavy your burden is to save the surviving humans, I don't want to be controlled by those things anymore. I want to make my own decisions, as nobody else but myself. All decisions. Even the decision to bring you down.
Basically,
this is also very like you.
It's basically the fuck everyone ending.
I understand, Eve. However, I still have things worth protecting. Eve, I wish you well.
I don't like this. I don't like it at all.
Eve isn't alone this time.
Lily, please, stay out of this.
Huh, you wish. What?
Adam.
I don't like this. The first ending I got is the true good ending. And the one that I hope is canon with the sequel. I don't like this. This sucks.
Stay
I noticed he didn't attack at all until I did. I wonder if it's supposed to be like that. He's not even trying to attack.
Humans should take.
He's not even doing anything. He's just kind of holding back. This is pathetic. It's basically, we're gonna make you feel bad for picking the wrong decision kind of boss fight.
We could save everyone.
You know, I just thought of it. Eve could literally walk away right now. And just let Adam do his thing. She doesn't have to do anything, but we're kind of forced into this. Because the game says so. That's why I don't like this now. In fact, if anything, I like it less.
Doesn't need to be kind. Only true.
Now he's saying the same things he said he said in the past. As just to further drive the point home.
We're like mirrors to each other. Carrying on this way, it can only bring darkness.
Yes, this is why I avoided this ending. Sorry, Adam. This is gonna hurt me a lot more than you.
It's working!
It's my turn now!
He's gonna transform into something monstrous, isn't he?
All we need is for you to disappear! Go away! Go!
Lily. Lily, I am sorry.
Lily! Hide!
He just vaporized the Providence mech.
Eve, you truly are a wonder. I must shed my humanity and become a monster.
Ugh. Mistake you can't make twice, Adam. Remember what you said? Ugh. He's going into Sephiroth mode, isn't he? Okay, he just warped reality. How the heck does that work? So, I guess the Sephiroth thing was a little more true than I thought. Okay, I admit, that looks kind of cool. Kind of like a big...
Now it really begins.
Like a big knight. Can't react to that in time. Can't react to that in time. Shit. Oh, swords of revealing light. Just like the Raven fight. Ow! That has to be painful. Ow, ow, ow. This is basically like the Raven fight all over again, only angelic as opposed to demonic. Oh no. He's doing the Fate Stay Night thing. Oh, he's gonna get me. Or not. Oh, I got it in time. I don't know how I did it. Forgive me, Adam. I'm sorry. I don't like this any more than you. I'm gonna have to do the... I cannot read that in time. I can't read that in time either. Okay, that was cool. Going into tacky mode like that.
Adam, I'm sorry.
Eve. With this, the history of humans is over. Your will, your actions, your decisions. I just hope that everyone is guided in the right direction.
Ugh. Nothing but bones. Yeesh.
Goodbye.
Eve?
This is definitely a more darker ending by comparison.
Eve! The nest! Hurry!
Repeating protocols. What kind of trophy is that? And look who it is. The she-devil herself.
Starry night. Reading the future is like mapping out the night sky. And sometimes you catch a glimpse of a shooting star falling towards Earth. Yes, seeing the future is just like that. I fully respect your decision, Eve, even if it is a bittersweet one.
Emphasis on the bitter.
I will be waiting for you, and I will be watching.
Can we kill her in the second game?
The sphere.
Is it done? Is it finally over?
No.
Yes, it is, Eve and Lily. It is time to go home.
You know, I just realized something. There was a giant anti-air Naytiba in the beginning of the
We
game.
still have things to do.
First, let's pay Mother Sphere a visit. We have a few questions for her, remember?
She's not going to tell you the truth. But yeah, there was a giant anti-air Naytiba in the beginning of the game. When the 7th Airborne dropped, we never actually saw that thing again. That's actually one of the few plot holes in the game. Like, it was even in old prototype screenshots. We never actually fight that thing. Maybe in the sequel? I mean, I have said they can bring back stuff they couldn't for the first game if they decide to.
I can see the colony.
Yeah, what does it look like?
But
It's a Dyson sphere. How much resources and time did it take to build something like that? I mean, you saw the ruins outside Raphael's station. Like, there was Abrams tanks and Iraq War era strikers and other armored trucks. It's like Nier, where there seems to be a hodgepodge of modern and old-timey tech mixed with futuristic shit, and that makes me wonder, okay, what year is it? But yeah, it's like they said, yeah, Mother Sphere tore apart parts of the colony and sicked it on planet Earth. So everything is basically screwed up because of her. And technically Raphael, because he created her to begin with and was on a very, very full of himself ego trip, clearly, from the pamphlets we've seen. And clearly hated what he did after the fact, because he realized, oh shit, everything I've done has destroyed the world and I've only made it worse. So he's basically the anti-Ted Faro, because in Horizon Zero Dawn, Faro basically doubled down on all of his stupidity and basically screwed over the entire world. Whereas here, it's like, no, he genuinely tries to repair the damage. I still stand by what I said. I do not think that any other ending will be considered the canon one, other than the one that they have you put in all the effort to do. Because it does not make sense otherwise. What with the whole finding everything to get Lily's affinity up, sparing Adam and doing the whole merging into a demigod thing in order to finally reconcile the absolute clusterfuck that happened between the original humans and the androids. Also, here's a question. If they're not made from any kind of human DNA, then where do they get the blood and fluids and other stuff to, it's like, I don't know. You tell me. Because they basically look and act and function very much the same as humans. In fact, it is. I wager to think they probably also reproduce similar to humans. So, and it's like what I say with Full Metal Alchemist. You cannot make anything from nothing. So how did that happen? Like, what Bill Gates lab created all this? So, yeah. Assuming Shift Up does a sequel to Stellar Blade, which I hope they do, I don't see them doing any other ending other than the one that I already did, because it goes against basic video game logic, where the one ending that has the most effort into making happen is usually the canon one. Metro 2033 is like one of the only exceptions where it ended up being the opposite. Where, Jim Ryan. The fact that this game even came out half the way it did, with Jim Ryan as Sony's president, just baffles me. Because, Sony's leadership, oh man, they really, I have no idea what they're doing. Honestly, the entire Western sphere of video games is a complete joke right now. Apparently, Nintendo of America is not allowing the re-release of the Hyperdimension Neptunia trilogy, the old one. Like, okay, why? You allowed for previous games by the same developers to come out, like like Dragonstar Varnir. You allowed the one other Neptunia game to come out. You allowed the Senran Kagura, that Neptunia crossover game come out. So what's the problem with this re-release, Nintendo of America? Why are you so stupid and filled with cucks? No, I don't care if it's coming out on PlayStation or even Xbox. It's still a horrible precedent that Nintendo even. Also, Stellar Blade got robbed of much deserved rewards. I mean, I don't think now, I will be fair. As much glowing praise as I have for Stellar Blade, I do not think it's 9 or 10 out of 10. It's a very, very strong 8.5. It just lacks a couple of things that could have made it more of a 9. Like, I've already mentioned the repetitive desert level design. I've already mentioned how basic shit was left off the initial launch, like New Game Plus. That should have been on the disc. And of course, I've already mentioned the whole cucking to the SJWs. Because, do I have to say it? Those weirdos do not play video games. The Cult of Sarkeesian does not like games. So why appeal to like 1% of the player base when you know they're damn well not gonna, they were never interested, other than just so they can be control freaks. Anyway, that's only like a small amount of flaws compared to the mountain of positives. So, more to the point, I don't see them doing any other way of doing a sequel other than the ending they make you go through as much effort with. Also, I know there also another thing. I don't like how they left off the Japanese language and the language setting. You can go through the game in the original Korean, but I find it weird that they left that in, but they didn't even bother putting Japanese language in there. I don't know, it makes no sense to me. So, yeah, clearly the ending where Eve allows Adam to merge his Naytiba fluids into her is clearly the one that they really wanted us to go for. I don't see any other way they can do a sequel following that, and of course I hope they do it. As for this ending, which is certainly a more bleak one, other than the other one, which I'm well aware of, and it's the one where if you don't fill in Lily's meter, which I don't know how I'm going to be able to pull that off, because I'd have to basically skip over everything that isn't major side quests or main quests in general. I do like the boss fight with Adam. It kind of reminds me of a double, it reminds me of a mix of a Final Fantasy and Devil May Cry boss. Like Mundus or something. You know, Mundus with the whole white armored angel gimmick and warping reality around him, or whatever it is that Adam did. But with the multiple wings and arms and spears and so on and so forth. And I also kind of reasonably like, I mean, they introduced it a little too late for my liking, but I do kind of like how they kind of weave in the instant kill attack with shooting all the power orbs floating around. I mean, it's probably a pain in the ass if you're playing it on harder mode, but it's kind of like a decent middle ground, which is certainly better than what Capcom did with Monster Hunter World with Alatreon. I hated what they did with Alatreon. So at the very least in this case, it kind of gives you a reason to use the gun on the bosses, when most of the time you typically wouldn't. I also kind of liked how Eve went into tacky mode. Which is funny because throughout the entire time, I was wearing the special earrings that I unlocked from beating it the first time and getting the true ending. So you would think that she'd turn into that mode, but no, she dons Tacky's uniform and the sword, as opposed to the complete true ending, where, yeah, she technically does turn into super mode, but, you know, it's in that white angel form. And I also find it funny how at no other time does Eve go into full tacky mode in a cutscene of any kind. I mean, heck, in the fight with the Demogorgon, or the little demo, whatever the heck it's, the Demo Crawler, I think it's called. I can't remember. The Bloodborne boss with the one winged greatsword thing in the space station. She whips out Tacky's sword, but she doesn't turn into the full form. Kind of seems weird that they would kind of do it like that, but I don't know. I'm kind of spinning. I'm kind of like looking for something to critique, I guess. Also, there is one other continuity gaffe that I didn't notice originally. When Eve kills the Democrawler and gets knocked around and drops her sword, does she even pick it back up? I don't think she does, because she gets thrown out of Spire 4's or space station at the top of the orbital elevator. It's clear it's not attached to her hair at any point. She's getting thrown off into the direction of Earth, and of course, you know, we charge up the railgun and we blow away the abomination. And then the Providence mech shows up and picks her up, but we never see the sword get saved. I guess it's supposed to be one of those things where where it was kind of like the developers missed it and it was oversight, overlooked. Yeah, it was overlooked, and nobody had any oversight to see, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. Oh, it's too late. We gotta ship the game. Sorry. So yeah, there's a few admitted continuity gaps in the game that I noticed the second time around, and that's one of them. Oh, as well as the giant anti-air Naytiba from the beginning of the game that we see once and never see again, and that was in the prototype screenshots for this game. You'd think we would go fight and destroy that thing, right? Especially considering it seemed to be the thing that was tearing up the entire 7th Fleet, or at least one of them. There probably were more of them. Instead, we ended up tackling the little cocoon mortars. So it's between that and the sword just getting dropped and suddenly reappearing as soon as we start the game back on Earth again. It's kind of one of those things where I guess you're supposed to kind of accept it. Or maybe the implication is that the Providence tracked the sword down and picked it up as it picked Eve up. Does the Blood Edge have a tracking device on it so Eve knows where it is? Does the Providence even register the signal on it, if that's the case? I don't know. I'm kind of like trying to fill in the gap myself. So yeah, a couple of continuity gaffes upon noticing a second time playing the game. And other than the one drone that disappeared from the game and I had to restart it to get it when doing the platforming outside the elevator shaft at Spire 4, the game is largely bug-free. And, well, sort of. There's some objects here or there that, if thrown around in the wrong way, kind of clip through the game. But beyond that, it's honestly this is honestly one of the least buggy games I've played in this modern era, which is saying something, especially by PlayStation standards. I'm also surprised that not once in my entire time playing on the PS5 Slim, it has not crashed on me or overheated, which was a huge problem I had with the PS4 Pro. I also stand by the opinion that the PS5 Slim is what the PS4 should have been to begin with. Honestly, it's not a huge graphical or visual leap from the PS4, in my opinion. It really isn't. It's just, in my opinion, it's an overclocked, slightly upgraded version of the 4. And with less heating problems. Because if you look at I can't speak for the Slim version, but I would imagine it probably gives off less heat as a result. I mean, I went and I saw a PS4 Slim a little while ago, and honestly, I was kind of shocked at how small it was. Barely bigger than the original launch PS2. But then you look at the PS4 Pro, which is 3 times bigger, on top of the fact that it's so cheaply made. It really is. It's like, that thing crashed on me on a semi-regular basis many times because it just could not process the heat well, or a random code in the games made for it that it couldn't read correct, or a random code that the reader can't, that the console's processor is trying to read, just doesn't get read for whatever reason. And of course you get the blue screen that says, there was a problem with this game, we had to shut it down, retry later, that thing. And on top of the fact that the cooling system in the Pro was a joke. Like, it's like 1 or 2 little tiny fans in there. And so, yeah, the PS4 Pro would basically be overheating constantly. So it got to the point where I had to, get a cooling apparatus for it that the third-party sellers make. Whereas, admittedly, it's too early to tell, but since I've played nothing but Stellar Blade on it for the past couple of weeks, yeah, the PS5 Slim does have its moments where it starts to let off excess heat, and you can hear it, but it's not so loud to the point that it sounds like an airplane trying to take off. And the fact that it has not crashed on me at all, I think, just kind of tells me that this is what the PS4 should have been from the get-go. Because it does feel like an upgrade by comparison, just not in the upgrade in the genuine, this is a huge innovative improvement. Like, no. The PS5 is to the PS4 what the Nintendo Wii was to the GameCube. Just a slightly overclocked version of the other system that was lagging far behind everything else. So yeah, long-winded level of stuff aside, I have to say, the ending I already did, the one that you put through the most effort for, that has to be the true ending for the game, and that's what Shift Up's gonna do. It doesn't make any sense otherwise. And it's not like the Naytiba just go and outright disappear completely in that regard. You probably still have a whole bunch that are feral and wild and causing problems, so they can still be a villain faction in a sequel, on top of Mother Sphere being the penultimate big bad So you basically have to deal with the stragglers of one thing while also dealing with the other. Kind of like a whole... kind of like how Halo had both the Flood and the Covenant to deal with. In fact, that reminds me. The Naytibas, in a way, kind of remind me of the Flood. Both in their premise and how they were created. Because in the lore of Halo, there was another alien race that predated the Forerunners, and the Forerunners wiped them out. And that previous race, crap, I forgot their name. It's not Prometheans, I know that, it's something else. But basically, they turned into the Flood, or at the very least created the Flood to get back at the Forerunners. And it was that's basically what the humans did in Stellar Blade. They turned themselves into monsters to try and get rid of Mother Sphere, and it basically turbo fucked the world even more than it already was. And Mother Sphere is basically the Forerunners. Only instead of a Halo ring firing off and destroying organic life, she decided to basically throw chunks of it down onto planet Earth. Especially with how ruined the Dyson Sphere colony is. And I imagine they can easily do it where Eve is still has to put up with a lot of crap despite merging with Adam. Because after all, even in that new form, she still had to fight off the Providence, and that thing basically kicks your ass the first half to 2/3 of the fight. So I imagine they can easily still give Eve a good challenge. I mean, Mother Sphere is clearly capable of improving stuff. I mean, she's done 7 airborne invasions. She has to have improved on something. The journey to find the truth continues. Okay, so I have to press X to move this? I think I do. Just like last time. Weird. Okay, is there another cutscene or what? There is no cutscene. And look at that, they reverted back to OG Eve. Okay, so if you do any of the other endings, you don't get Eve in the angel Naytiba form. You go back to the old one. So I imagine it'll revert the other way if I do the good ending again. So that's interesting. I would have thought they would have kept it that way, but apparently not. Okay, so we don't get... So yeah, that just reinforces my thought. Because when I put in the effort to do the real ending, we got that little extra cutscene of Lily putting in the fusion core and waking everyone up from the cradle. And then, of course, Eve shows up. We didn't even get that. We just had Eve and Lily going on the Count Dooku, solar sail ship. We see the colony Dyson Sphere, and that's it. We don't see them come back to deliver the core. So yeah, it just reinforces what I said. Why else would they have us go through all the trouble of the other ending and then, show all that off? So yeah, that clear. It's like, yeah, I heard that Shift Up apparently has it where you could do however you want. It's how you want it. But assuming they do plan to make a sequel, and I hope they do, I don't see how they can go that way. I mean, you could probably try and do like a Mass Effect sort of thing where maybe depending on what decisions you do, it affects the next game, but honestly, I don't see it happening. And I could be wrong, but I don't see them doing anything other than picking the very obvious ending good ending that they put you through the ringer to do in order to continue it. I just don't see it happening any other way. It's just, I don't see how. So, did I like the Atom fight? Yeah, I did. It's very fun. It basically feels like a slightly more overclocked Raven fight, specifically when she's in her Guillermo del Toro demon bird form, because it basically operates exactly the same way, what with the whole shooting the orbs. I mean, the Providence fight also acted the same way, too, but the aesthetics are much closer to the first Raven fight by comparison. So, do I think Shift Up, assuming they do a sequel, will do a whole pick your ending? It doesn't matter. No, I do not think they'll be able to do anything other than having to pick the very obvious. We made you put all this effort to get this ending. It's just I don't see it happening any other way. So whatever happens. They can do a lot more with a sequel to Stellar Blade. More weapons, please. More environments. I mean, you have that entire colony structure surrounding Earth. That's ripe for new levels right there. So, what do I think will happen? I mean, so Captain Man, as I said, he clearly did not die. It's like he was still breathing last we saw him. And then we left Raven alive, so she could come back. Probably in a Virgil sort of way, where maybe we mostly play as Eve, but then we can maybe unlock Raven as a playable character, or maybe there's certain points in the game where she's playable. I could see that happening. And assuming the true secret ending is the one that Shift Up's going to go with, and I don't see how they would do that otherwise, especially considering it's honestly one of the easier games to do that. It's like, I can see it happening where, okay, Eve is now part Naytiba due to Adam's, genetic magic shit. And since we did not technically wipe out the Naytiba in that ending, as is what happened in this one, I can imagine you'd still have a bunch of feral, animalistic ones wandering around causing trouble, and they still act as a villain faction, in a sense, while you have Mother Sphere as the main bad guy to go out on, to go ham on, like a whole Covenant and Flood situation. So that's what I think they might do. And me personally speaking, that's what I think they should do. I don't see it happening in any other fashion. But whatever Shift Up does, I look forward to seeing. I look forward to what they can do with the sequel to this game. Unlocked Eve preset maximum new game. Okay, you unlocked the Eve preset. Maximum, New Game Plus. You can use new skills, upgrades, equipment from New Game Plus with this preset. Okay. So I now have Raven in both her forms unlocked, Providence, and now the Elder Naytiba. So I've basically unlocked all the bosses. And then some. Now, I don't know if I will do any sort of stream for the even worse ending, because again, I don't think there's a point to, at least with at least with this one, it was like, oh, you get a completely different boss. And I'm just gonna spoil it right now. If you just go and speed through everything in Stellar Blade and you don't max the affinity, you don't do the Eidos 9 as a result of not doing everything, then basically what happens is, if you accept Adam's proposal, and, well, you fight Providence again, of course, but because Lily did not get the code from her friend, Iberus, apparently the Providence mech just overrides all control from Lily, and you're forced to not only fight it, but apparently Lily becomes unalived in the process. And it's basically the worst ending. Or is it well, I say worse because, yeah, you basically end up killing the one person who's been, the one other person other than Adam who's been helpful to you. So that's bleak. So, it's either the true secret ending that all the work put, where you fuse with Adam, Lily lives, Mother Sphere is outed as the true bad guy, and that's where it leads off. Then you have this one where you kill Adam, Lily's spared, but you are more than likely getting fucked over anyway by Mother Sphere anyway, so that's definitely not a great ending to leave off on. And then, of course, there's the other one I just spoiled, where you kill Lily and you merge with Adam, but yeah, it's a little more like, yeah, you lost both people in the process, and you leave, and Leave is basically left alone. So it's, yeah, one is clearly the better of the three, and the other two are much more bleak, or at the very least bittersweet. So that's basically it for Stellar Blade for now. I don't know. If I do feel if I do go out of the way to get the third ending, sure, I might film it, but don't count on it. I already made false promises in the past with Resident Evil 2, where I said I would stream the bonus modes that came out with the alternate characters, and I never got around to doing it, despite me saying that I will. So I'm not going to make any promises to the possibility of such. If I do, great. If I don't, well, don't say I didn't warn you. So that'll be it for this game. I have no idea what I want to stream next, especially since I'm also juggling Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on the Switch, and, well, the Switch does not have any sort of stream software built into it, and I don't have a PC to plug it into. So what I decide to play next through my PS5 and maybe PS4, I haven't decided yet. I do have quite the backlog after all, so I'll think of something. And if I come back to play Stellar Blade again for the other ending, I will. If not, well, it is what it is. So yeah, Adam boss fight done. I've clearly listed and over-explained which ending I think is the one they're gonna Shift Up's gonna stick with. And I look forward to the probability of Stellar Blade 2, and hope that we don't wait a million years for it to happen, because I really, really want it to. And I hope to see more of their stuff come to consoles, like how about a Gears of War style Nikkei game that isn't on the phone? I mean, if they can do that and do it right, I'd be up for it. So anyway, I'm tired. My voice is now getting hoarse from speaking too much. I'm gonna go stop the stream and go do something else. So whatever I decide to come back with next, I'll mule it over, and then once I do, business as usual. So thank you all for watching my journey with Stellar Blade. I look so forward to seeing what else comes of this new franchise from Shift Up, and I'll see y'all later. Bye bye. Do the YouTube things that YouTube wants you to do, so that way my little wasteland of a channel has a little more growth to it. Would be nice. Either way, have a good night.